Well, doesn't it look like spring has sprung? Well, not officially, of course, but the garden doesn't know that. We have snow crocuses blooming, and look at these. When these sprout and start flowering, there's no stopping us now. And look at these snowdrops. This double snowdrop is my absolute favorite. And you can see the daffodils are almost in the blush here. Now, we might be under snow in 2 weeks, who knows, but there's nothing we can do when these bulbs come up. It's just how nature is. Now, our first job is in the greenhouse. I turned the water on temporarily, and the hose gave way. We're not buying a new hose. Mr. Cheapskate is going to take care of that. We're going to fix it. Follow me. Well, as you can see, this hose has seen better days, and as I said, there's no way I'm buying a new hose. This is a pretty darn good hose. Yeah, it's 10, 15, 20 years old, who knows. I just went down to my local hardware store. Support your local hardware store. Hastings Hardware is mine. And I'm just going to cut off this end of this hose with these clippers. See how easy it is? And then I just bought a hose repair kit for just a couple bucks. And before you know it, this hose will be good as new. Look at that, perfectly cut. Not really. This goes on first. Then we're going to put this in here. And luckily it's been nice and warm in the greenhouse. This is going in pretty easy. A little bit more. And then all we need to do is tighten it down. And this hose will be as good as new. As I said, it's a temporary turn on. It's going to get cold again, but I had to get some water out here. There's some things that have been sitting out here all winter. I didn't want that to happen. All right. All right. I'm going to tighten this up, and then we're going to go out in the garden. You know, this time of the year when we do see some bulbs sprouting, it's a great time to take some pictures or write some notes down about where things are blooming. Believe it or not, we're already planning ahead to what we're going to plant in the fall. And we want to record what's here and, more importantly, what isn't. Where are there some bare spots so that we can plant that area in the fall, because you're never going to remember, and this is all going to be filled up with really nice perennials. Okay, speaking of planting, we're planting early, the earliest I've ever planted. Next, come on. Well, besides all the other great stuff that's coming up, my #1 favorite plant, garlic, is up, and there's something special about this early garlic. There is one little fat bud that comes up in the middle. It's only like this in the spring, and it is to die for. Lots of garlic. All right, I guess we got to get to work in a minute. Well, I've been thinking, and that's always dangerous, but when we planted those radishes in December and they came up last week, I thought, well, if I could plant something in December, why couldn't I plant something now? Now, we talked last week too, you cannot turn the soil over, it's too wet, but in these cold frames, the only thing that survived the winter was this garlic, and this is the best looking garlic I have because it's growing under this plastic. And I have a really nice lettuce here. It's Paris White Cause. It's actually from Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's Monticello. And then I've got some mustard, red giant mustard greens, and something called curled cress, which I love. All cold weather plants, all that just love growing out here early in the spring. In fact, they can't stand the heat. And I'm going to do the same thing with these seeds that I did with the ones that we did over there with the radish. I'm just going to kind of sprinkle them onto this good compost and hopefully make a little carpet of lettuce here. And I'm just going to kind of scratch them in. And I think in the front we'll put the curled cress. And over there I'll put red mustard. And I've got a couple other ideas. As I said, I've been thinking. I fixed it. And there's no leaking on the other side. I did something right. Now check me out online. That's where you can find lots of other great gardening stories, blog posts, videos, pictures, but also my stage schedule for the upcoming Duquesne Light Home and Garden Show. You can come to that show for free as long as you come see me speak. This is how you can find out. All right, I got so much work to do out there. You can see, clean up, get this cleaned up. My mother would call this disaster headquarters. All right, we'll see you next week.